what's up? Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to discuss which altcoins to watch and how to watch them, as I could understand that it's very difficult to navigate through those markets when everywhere there's FOMO, everywhere you see message did, people making money, project this. So I can understand that it's very overwhelming. That's why we're going to make this video, which is both educational and also some coins that I'm personally looking at. Before we're going to continue, do not forget to subscribe beneath and like this video as well, as that's helping me a lot to improve and grow my channel. What are we going to discuss? First, we're going to use some examples on how to manage your portfolio and to trade those altcoins. And then after that, we can move towards the ones that I'm currently watching, as you have to use both the Bitcoin and USDT charts. So as you can see, we've got Elrond on the screen here, which means that Elrond is the one that I'm currently using as an example, but we can also flip back towards Cardano as well. Why? Both of these coins have seen some massive momentum and still have, as social media is still giving them lots of attention. If I post a video about Cardano, I get a gazillion views. But the point is that it might not be an entry when there's such a momentum going. So if you're looking for a chart or an entry on something that's very high on social media, everybody's talking about it and it's running heavily, you have to zoom out. So there's a few different strategies, and I've been discussing this previously as well. First, you want to use higher time frames to spot levels of interest. And the beautiful thing about this chart is that we've got an example previously already. So we've got this example, and I actually have to use the Bitcoin chart that we have here, in which you can see that we've had such a massive run in 2020, full correction, and another massive run happens. And because of those massive runs, you can start looking for historical price action to get an entry going. That's what we're going to do in a clean chart here. So that's what you see here in the first run as well. So imagine you see this chart happening in which you see it running up heavily. You want to get into a position, but you simply don't know how. And you want to avoid FOMO, because FOMO is maybe good in the current market conditions, but it's going to bring your portfolio down heavily at some stage, as it's just not the way to work with investing. So what you see is that we've got this entire block of support that was constructed here. We do see this beautiful retest, and that is granting you the entry. Even if you buy here, that's pretty much fine, as we've got the test already. But in this run, the critical point is in this run, you want to look for lower time frame or lower levels based on historical price action to take the entry or want to accumulate. And second, you see that this is a daily time frame chart, 1 day every candle. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get there. So it takes weeks before it gets to that level. And usually what happens is that nobody is discussing the project when it comes there, because the FOMO is away and everybody is discussing a certain project when there is hype. So that's the moment you want to get in, and that's the point that we're going to at a later stage in this video. So it takes time, you have to be patient, and you have to be risk averse with your portfolio. There's no point in FOMOing into projects, as the overall goal is to improve your own portfolio rather than being a complete lunatic and longing any coin at some random level. So that's what we see on eGold historically, and then we go towards the massive run on itself. Then we get to the next point that I wanted to make, is that in this entire run, there's maybe one point of interest that you could take. Difficult though. There's a retest here, and you could have taken this one here, but that's more complex to take, and you're already inside the run. So you can see that once you get the position going, you have to keep it at such an extent that once it starts to accelerate heavily and it makes that massive run, for instance, this entire run is a 10x, or close, sorry, 5x. you have to take profits. And that's for the simple reason that I'm going to describe right now. Imagine you've got a portfolio of 100k and you've made a position in Elrond of $25,000. So a quarter of your trading portfolio is inside this project because you believe in it and you've made that beautiful entry. If it starts to run this heavily, you can feel the energy in your body and the adrenaline. But what you want to achieve is that once your portfolio, your Elrond allocation goes from 25k and this times 5,000%, so it goes to 100k, very simple. Your entire portfolio is then constructed as in 75k profit, which means that your Elrond trade is 100k instead of 25k, and your entire portfolio, if the rest remains ceteris paribus, your entire portfolio is $175,000. So all of a sudden, more than half of your portfolio is in Elrond, which means that you have to take profits to rebalance. There's no point in holding your coin to the end of the world. You have to rebalance your portfolio, as your approach is that you're a portfolio manager for yourself. So then you're going to take profits, at least rebalance it the way you should. So if you go back towards the 25%, you at least take 60% out. And that 60% you want to start reallocating. So how are you going to do that? You're going to do that through navigating that important levels again. So we've got this entire construction and level that we have here. There's also a daily time frame given in historical price action on Elrond here. So you want to be patient again on the money that you have. And if you want to get back into Elrond, you want to step back a little, give it time, and get back towards historical levels that are very important to look at, and then take the entry, as that's the best risk reward you can get. So I hope that point is clear, because you want to avoid that FOMO part. So in this case, Elrond is currently just moving sideways, everything is fine. Might even get an opportunity at the lower stage if Bitcoin is going to run heavily. But this green zone is definitely the point of interest. And even if we get here, we might want to get a small entry going. And then we just make a sideways range until it starts to make its new impulse wave. All fine. Then there's also a different option, which is that people are chasing candles that are doing really well. So for instance, THETA, massive run up. We can do the exact same example here as on Elrond, as there are so many cycles here, as you can see. But then the nature of the people is that they're going to chase the trade or the coin that is moving the most. So these coins are just simply not an entry at this stage. They might, but then you have to do that strategy that we just discussed. And for THETA, you're going to look in this range. What you also can do with your portfolio is that you're going to use the money that you made on a certain coin and look for coins that did not move yet, and they are not being discussed on social media. So that's how you get your money. You want to be in before the social media starts to discuss those. That takes time, that takes fundamental research, but that's where you get the best entry points, as once again, when something starts to run, it's really hard to get into a position unless you're day trading or scalp trading, and that video has been posted 3 days ago in which you can deploy your strategies then. But if you're day or scalp trading, your strategy and your risk is way higher. Your strategy is different and your risk is way higher, through which your sizing is low. But then getting to the point of some altcoins that did not move yet too much and why they are important to watch given the discussion that we just had. And the first one I'm going to take out of this is KAVA. KAVA is a beautiful example of stuff that is making a massive run and then it's getting back into the entry point. And yes, you will never be the actual bottom. So for instance, if we see this chart and we just flip towards the daily, you can see that we have this massive run, and inside this massive run there's not many entry points. There's maybe a few here. This flip, there's an entry point. You wanted to chase this one, didn't get, so this flare is an entry point. But in this run you don't really want to chase anything of it, unless you want to day or scalp trade. And especially when the trend shifts, you're going to look at anything in this range. Then you have to flip back towards the 3-day even, and you can see that we've got this entire level that we just discussed. So this region is where you want to take the trade, and even if you took the trade there, you would have been losing value and losing half, but even you've got a way better entry point than anything that's above here. And we get to a stage where altcoins are going to completely get hammered in the Bitcoin pair again, so you want to avoid losing value. So this is the first point. Second point is anything here, or even a flip. You could just be patient and wait it out until you see a level flip for support. So what do we see right now on KAVA is that it's just down massively on the Bitcoin pair. So we see that it's down 80% on the Bitcoin pair, which means that there's still lots to gain while nobody is discussing the overall pair right now. So you want to look for those coins that are just still accumulating heavily before they start to make that big run, as once again, when they do, you don't really get an opportunity to get into those projects. So I'm looking at KAVA, especially given the construction that we have. It flipped this 6.5K zone and it's looking eager for some more compression before it starts to break out. And then somewhere in this region, I'll just be taking profits once again. Other coins that are in such a sideways range is, I couldn't pass on it, is Swipe, which is giving you an example of what altcoins are doing and why they are down so much. They are down 85%, so I just have to get towards the other chart layout that I have here. If it loads, trading view sometimes kinda slow. Silica I'm not discussing today. Swipe. So what do we see here? Swipe is still 87% below the all-time high in the Bitcoin price. This shows a very important part for altcoins in general, is that momentum still has to occur. The USDT values are going through the roof, but they are not interesting to watch unless you want to take entry points. The Bitcoin pairs are the ones to watch, as they generate you value against Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has been running heavily, through which other altcoins are still eager to follow. That's why you see them going through the roof. Even Litecoin still has to follow through. So there's lots to gain, and we've discussed KAVA, in which the level has been flipped at 6,500 sats there, and Swipe is doing the exact same. So this still grants you an opportunity to take which entry points. You should be becoming a member of our group, as I'm all sharing my strategy there. Also other trade IDs, link is beneath here. So Swipe is another one that's still accumulating heavily. And then there's still some more that I want to discuss, and I'll take a few of them. First one is OneChain. OneChain is also still down massively from the all-time high, and it's trying to flip some bullish levels, which means that I'd prefer to see this 1300 sats hold, which grants you continuation towards the next levels of resistance. But still, the overall concept is that this one is not in FOMO. Nobody is discussing the project while everybody's focused on stuff that's running heavily, right? And then finally, I've got another one, which is THETA, which is basically the biggest accumulation which I see right now. We do get a retest of the low, and that is just fine. We do see volume increasing, which means accumulation is going on. Once we break above that 650 sats level, this one is going to rock as well. So there are still tons of altcoins that are out there, didn't run anything at all. So I'm still expecting a big altcoin summer to occur, also on some majors. So that's how you do the research, and that's how you get into those markets. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again tomorrow for a new market update. Take care of yourself and your family. Have a wonderful Sunday.